Hello, welcome back. What Phylicia Rashad remembers from her time on set wasn't scandal or discomfort, but a mix of dedication and joy. To her, what unfolded behind the scenes of The Cosby Show was a mixture of work, play, and professionalism. She recalls Mrs. Camille Cosby often being present at the studio, suggesting a family-like atmosphere rather than anything inappropriate. That era, the late 1980s and early 90s, was when The Cosby Show didn't just dominate TV ratings, it shifted culture. At its center stood Phylicia Rashad as the elegant and whip-smart Claire Huxtable, a role that cemented her as one of the most beloved matriarchs in television history. With warmth, wit, and unwavering dignity, she helped reimagine what Black families could look like on primetime TV. Now at 77, Phylicia looks back not just at the success of that moment, but at the unspoken truths behind the curtain, what it took to uphold that legacy, the pressures involved, the loyalty that shaped her choices, and the quiet strength she had to summon again and again. Phylicia once noted that you don't stumble into a role like Claire Huxtable, you have to carry yourself with intention and history. That comment speaks volumes about who she is, not just as an actress but as a person. She doesn't perform roles, she lives them. That presence she brings, a mix of gravity and grace, has made her an icon across generations. But to understand what makes her so enduring, you have to go back, before the Emmy nods and the critical acclaim, to a girl raised in Texas surrounded by books, music, and discipline. Phylicia Allen was born into a family where intellect and artistry were prized. Her mother, Vivian, was a celebrated writer and academic, while her father, Andrew, was an orthodontist. Though her parents divorced early in her life, their influence remained powerful. Her upbringing was rich with inspiration. Her sister, Debbie Allen, would go on to fame in her own right, but both women were deeply shaped by their mother's decision to remove them from the racial tensions of 1962's Houston and move the family to Mexico, giving them a view of the world far beyond the limits of segregation. That exposure gave Phylicia a broader sense of possibility and a deeper understanding of self-worth. From a young age, she was drawn to the arts, especially theater. She studied at Howard University, where she graduated with honors, molded by the legacy of Black excellence and a community that pushed her to think critically and act with purpose. Howard was more than just a school, it was a proving ground. There she built the foundation that would carry her through a demanding career on stage and screen. Before television came calling, Phylicia made her name in theater. She performed in iconic shows like Dreamgirls, The Wiz, and Ain't Supposed to Die a Natural Death, as well as classical productions most Black actresses were rarely considered for. Her performances were consistently praised for their technical precision and emotional depth. She wasn't just acting, she was creating portraits of real, complex human beings. Her name, Rashad, came from her third marriage to former NFL player Ahmad Rashad. Though the marriage ended, the name stayed and became associated with strength, elegance, and wisdom. Phylicia's gift wasn't just in what she said on stage or on screen. It was how she said it. She could hold an audience with a look or a pause. She carried herself with regal calm and a fierce intellect. Directors noticed, audiences listened, and casting agents knew she could bring dimension to roles that required more than just charm. When she became more involved in directing theater in the 90s and 2000s, particularly the plays of August Wilson, she brought that same depth to her work behind the scenes. Eventually, her journey led her back to Howard, where she became the dean of the Chadwick A. Boseman College of Fine Arts, passing on the same rigor and inspiration that had shaped her. Her impact on the next generation of Black artists is incalculable. Many have credited her mentorship as instrumental in their success, both on stage and in life. Her mantle of awards and accolades speaks for itself. She made history in 2004 as the first Black woman to win the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Play. She's been honored by the Knock, Bet, and numerous theater associations. But Phylicia Rashad never let recognition define her. She remained focused on using her platform to elevate others. Even as she continued acting, appearing in shows like Empire, This Is Us, and films like Creed, she stayed grounded in her purpose. She represented not just talent, but integrity. And in a world obsessed with speed and spectacle, her quiet, deliberate brilliance stood out. All of that, however, was complicated by the one role that made her a household name, Claire Huxtable. It's impossible to talk about Phylicia without talking about The Cosby Show. When it premiered in 1984, it was a cultural earthquake. Bill Cosby's vision of an upper-middle-class black family with two professional parents and a house full of spirited children was unlike anything seen before on American television. And it wasn't just that the family was black, it was how they were portrayed. They were complex, aspirational, and most importantly, normal. Phylicia was not cast to simply play a mother. She brought so much presence to her audition that the writers changed the character's profession. Originally written as a stay-at-home mom, Claire Huxtable became a powerful attorney, equal to her husband in wit, authority, and love. She wasn't there to support the story, she was central to it. Phylicia Rashad found herself in the center of the storm, not because of any personal wrongdoing, but because of her vocal defense of Bill Cosby. Her comments like saying a great legacy was being destroyed and suggesting that the allegations were orchestrated drew intense backlash, especially from survivors and advocates. When Cosby's conviction was overturned in 2021, her celebratory tweet sparked a firestorm, particularly at Howard University. Many felt betrayed. A role model for women, especially young black women, was now being accused of ignoring the suffering of other women. Though she later clarified that she supported survivors, the damage was done. Her image, once so carefully cultivated, now carried layers of contradiction. Phylicia didn't backtrack entirely, but she did temper her statements. And since then, she's kept a lower profile, focusing on her duties at Howard and her continued work in theater and television. Many students still speak of her with deep admiration. She remains an educator, a mentor, and an artist. But there's no denying that the Cosby controversy altered how the world sees her. The divide between Claire Huxtable and Phylicia Rashad became harder to navigate. For some, it's a painful disillusionment. For others, it's a reminder that humans are complicated and loyalty doesn't always align with public morality.